Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated discussion in the kitchen.
Max. Maximilian. Vicar. Vicky.
What?
Shoot, I forgot. It'll come to me.
We're now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain.
hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? I knew it. See, I made what you'd call a logical deduction. You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic, us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly. Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell.
Ah, the nostalgic stench of home. Can't say I miss the day-to-day of living in Edgewater.
Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever. Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something? You're real funny. Guess I don't feel so bad for missing what goes on in the rest of Stellar Bay. I couldn't really say, I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now. Thanks a bunch! Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Wouldn't mind smelling like Saltuna if we could sell more of it.
We're not the best equipped, but scouting for rats keeps us on our toes.
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope. But a man can dream. Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the Iconoclasts or some such. Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. On account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. Don't interrupt, it's rude. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn wrapped out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? If you think this is drunk, I gotta... you need to get out more. Sit. Partake. Buy me a drink and let's chat. Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
If you want to talk to the boss, she's in the back of the warehouse.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No? Aren't they just? When I get to worrying about the marauders outside, the raptidons chewing at the walls, I just turn my transceiver up to drown it all out. Most of the time it's static on account of the frequency being clogged up, but sometimes it's tossball. So, what can I do for you? Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda, like it's done him any good. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch.
Velma's capable of running the warehouse, she can certainly pick up her own caffeinoid.
Don't be so hard on her. With Brax missing, she's working doubles and needs a little edge.
Very well, dearie. But you stop by any time you like, hmm?
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Velma's gonna be extra cranky if she doesn't get her caffeinoid.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember.
Quite the bedside manner, lady.
Well, it's so rare I get the pleasure of new company. What can Auntie Abigail do for you? And what a helpful young lady you are. Nothing like a little pill to liven up the spirits.
Whiskey helps, too.
Please leave medical advice to the professionals. Now, dearie, who's this pickup for? I'm so sorry, but with the iconoclasts and the marauder filth chasing away what little trade we get, I'm afraid I have to reserve my supply for Stellar Bay residents. Our reserves have gotten so low, I've even had to start locking the supply room upstairs. Isn't it a shame what some people will do to get a little extra? Isn't it just? I'd make an exception for you if I could, my little cherub. Is there anyone else needing a special pickup from Auntie Abigail?
Don't blame me if I puke on your shoes.
Aren't you a saucy thing? I may not be a fresh young thing anymore, but with age comes experience, dearie. Much as I'd love to, my rheumatism is especially fierce at the moment, and I'm all out of my medicine. But I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. You were here for caffeinoid, weren't you? Who's it for? Oh, her. It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Contribute like the rest of us. Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dearie. I don't like to pry. I'm afraid not. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Even I can't access them. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his. Careless experimentation with medicinal substances does take its toll, eventually.
But until then, it's lots of fun.
Episodic pharmacological delirium is no laughing matter, young lady. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra... The one upstairs, where we store our medicines. In the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower of enlightenment. On the way, he tried some rather daring substance combinations. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but the bodies tend to attract beasties. Do be careful. I'd hate for anything to happen to you, dearie. Chin up, dearie.
Nice and easy.
Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. I clean the apartments while everyone's at work. I've seen all sorts of messes, but this... If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Good day to you.
Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. I just about pissed my jumpsuit. Most people don't. Besides, this place is enough to try anyone's nerves. Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? Or perhaps the rap spewing acid at our walls? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation, and I was a fool for staying. Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch. Rest periods between every work shift. No shift more than 10 hours long. It all sounds wonderful, until you realize there's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between you and the deadliest creatures in the galaxy.
That's what she said.
There's truly no end to my suffering. Only every day. But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis, yours notwithstanding. And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop, what then? Well, thank you for reminding me. As if I weren't already destined for an early grave. Lucky you.
Not much I can do for this guy.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance. Whatever you do, don't mention Tossball to Isaac. You'll never hear the end of it.
You know, I haven't seen him in a while.
An hour-long rant about mostly colonists. You'd be thankful.
Hey, that's against regulation. What do you think you're doing? Just don't make any trouble for me, okay?
You startled me. Don't sneak up on a person like that, huh? Jumpy? Who's Jumpy? I'm not Jumpy.
Well, well. The only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. But you don't look like one of Catherine's. What can I get you? If you don't see it, I don't got it. Don't go asking for the special reserve.
Wrapped musk and canid eyes, right here.
Please, will someone help me? My boy's in trouble. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak.
It's more dissolving than melting.
That is not helpful. Oh, I just knew you were a good person. Agnes, I said, this is the woman to save your little Tucky. And I was right. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen. Please, won't you go and find my boy? Well, I guess I can't ask you to leave the town walls for free. It is deathly dangerous out there. I've got some bits saved up for a rainy day. I'll give you every last one if you just bring my Tucker back to me. I won't even be mad at him running off. You tell him I won't be mad. He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers. He should have listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me. He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put out. I begged Sanjar to put a stop to them, but did he? No! And now I just know my boy's run off to Amber Heights. That is, if a manta queen hasn't spooled out and eaten his entrails for breakfast already. Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. Oh, they make it sound so exciting. Like it's noble to risk it all out there, fighting for the greater good. How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. But still they preach their sermons of anarchy and rebellion to anyone who'll listen. If they weren't holed up in Amber Heights, I'd knock them all upside the head. That old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, the thought of my son shacking up with the nutty iconoclasts. Or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body alongside the road as we speak. Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him snort them. Oh, the things that could happen to my sweet baby. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
So, Vicar. Vicky. Can I call you Vicky?
Absolutely fucking not.
For a vicar, you sure curse an awful fucking lot.
Look who's talking.
I'm not a fucking priest.
And thank the architect for that.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir. Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today? Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else. Sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to...
Good to have standards, I guess.
I know what I'm looking for. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? What a charming notion. One doesn't meet many free spirits in Halcyon. Not outside Tartarus prison, anyway. Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Only, I take it this means you aren't here for Saltuna. Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular letdown. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Exactly what I would have said, if I'd been paying attention.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
What?
Yes, it's as though the good vicar has plucked the very words from my brain. I have people to look after. I need to be practical.
That's why Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Ingenious plan? Don't get me wrong, I'm starting to admire your sand, but I bet you could overcomplicate a sisty sandwich.
What a charmingly roguish turn of phrase. Allow me to express my thanks at your confidence and assure you that my plan is indeed sufficiently complicated.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
Never realized fighting the bureaucracy could be this interesting.
It is quite the rush. In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in, these days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. What can I do for you? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. You'd head south along the road and look for a mountain to the west. Not that I'd advise it. It's a terribly dangerous trek. But if you insist on going, I'd recommend taking a local guide. Nyoka would be a prime candidate.
If you can keep her sober.
I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you?
You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. A long time ago. Oh, have you talked to him?
Smells like wrapped in here.
Oh
how it does work. I bought some musk from some...
Here to catch a game? I'm afraid the transmission's still pretty bad. What can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. They were pretty distinct. Monarch doesn't exactly have a thriving dental industry, and Isaac seemed to get stuck in all sorts of bad habits, dietary and otherwise. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter, other times he'd keep betting on a losing team, started owing the wrong people money. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Good. Someone's gotta. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
No one saw me trip over that, right?
I wonder sometimes what they're doing on other colonies.
Uh-huh.
Think they're watching the same serials, following the same tossball games?
Mm-hmm.
You're not listening to a word, are you?
Look, my back aches and everything smells like fish. Point my beer.
Who the fuck are you? This ain't your alley.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business. How? That was supposed to go out with the next batch of salt tuna. What are you suggesting, pal? Wow. Most of the pencil pushers around here cave as soon as you look at them funny. Fine, we're going. This ain't worth it.
A fine day for business, isn't it? Anyway, what can I do for you? But that's terrible. What happened? I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them eventually. Of course I would have. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services.
Hey, Velma, I got your caffeinoid pills.
You're a lifesaver. Hope Abigail didn't give you a hard time.
Just the usual. Any word on Braxton?
Nothing. Don't know how much longer I can cover for him either. Give me those pills, will you?
Here you go. You know, you might consider a real night's sleep instead.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. I can't keep working double shifts either. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. I don't have time for Grimm, even when I'm not working doubles. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No. I paid Sublight for it, so it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster. Sure can. Fine by me. Caleb Herrick runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials. He and his whole crew walked out. Say they won't come back unless I pay them more. You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it? I'm joking. Mostly. Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance. If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Check the yacht club. He's usually there. Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the Saltuna, fat and mostly tumor-free. Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground 6 spacer.
This is the simple truth. We are all molecular machines. The body is a collection of atoms. The mind is a consequence of chemical reactions. Therefore, our lives are predestined along a path that is only visible in retrospect. Life is fated and unstoppable.
Gotta hand it to you, Max. You make my old med school lectures seem interesting.
You again! You've really got to stop doing that! Braxton. I've never even heard of a Braxton. Got nothing for you, sorry.
Dilated pupils, anxious posture, muscle spasms. She's high on some...
No! Okay, maybe, just a little... Braxton always has a good stash, and I just like to let loose a little. Stop thinking about the Marauders and the Raptidons outside, you know? Oh, damn. He told me he was delivering to this house in the ruins south of town. Whole family had fallen sick, and he had some meds on hand. So maybe look for him there?
We're in agreement that this Braxton is probably dead, right?
Here to catch a game? I'm afraid the transmission's still pretty bad. What can I do for you? Signed by the Black Hole himself. There's no way I could pass that up. Why, did you want to see it? I don't have it yet. I'm waiting on a few customers to pay up before I can give Velma the bits. I don't know. This isn't just some poster. It's a genuine tossball artifact. The Black Hole doesn't even sign things anymore. He just puts a stamp on them. Of course, the only reason I asked Velma about it in the first place was because those Sublight fellas lost my shipment of official tossball jerseys. I was gonna line the walls with them. They're the new ones, now with authentic game time aroma. Of course not. No, authentic means close enough to be the real thing, but not actually the real thing. Everyone knows that. Anyway, I guess they tried to take a shortcut around Amber Heights and ran into some trouble. Can't blame them for trying. Those iconoclasts never shut up. But they lost a bunch of cargo, including my jerseys. If you could get those for me, I might let Grimm have that poster. Thanks. Be a fine substitute.
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome bit for rap lust. New face, huh? You from off-world? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell, and revel with us? Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch, we're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay. Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? Not forever, but we've each saved up our bits, and I stashed them safe in my home by the diner. I reckon we could last a week or two at least. If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. Maybe you'll fare better. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true. I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon.
You ever think about what goes on in a marauder's head?
No, they're crazy.
But they still manage to feed themselves, dress themselves, work together.
Max, you're always going on about destiny. What did your mother do?
If you must know, my late mother was a laborer, Dr. Finham.
And your father?
The same.
And you ended up a preacher how?
The universe works in mysterious ways. Where there is a deficit, it seeks to provide an abundance. Say a church is attacked by marauders and sustains casualties. The replacement clergy must arise from somewhere.
Why don't you grab a chair? Sit a spell. Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? Nope. I'm calling her bluff. If she wants to threaten us, we'll see how she likes it when Sanjar finds out she gave Sublight even more dominion in Stellar Bay. Nope.
Reminds me of the crew cabin on one of my first ships.
The trick is not to breathe through your nose. wonder what secrets these ruins... We've got trouble!
A visitor? What an unexpected surprise! Please, come in. Come in.
I, for one, welcome a reprieve from our travels. That is, if you'll have us, kind sir.
That's the spirit. Now come in. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm afraid we don't get many visitors out here. The Raptidons and Marauders scare off all but the boldest. And if you've braved them, you must be exhausted. Why don't you stay for dinner? I'm sure I would remember something like that. Now, quit fretting yourself about that. Make yourself at home. Dinner's almost ready.
Oh, hello there. You come for dinner? Sorry, I'm not real good with, names. It just gets hard to remember things. I recall moments, feelings, but the details slip. Other times, it's like there's fog. Sorry, have we talked about this before? That's nice of you. I usually feel better after I eat. Mama said dinner's almost ready, huh?
What a pleasant surprise.
And just when I was beginning to fear we'd seen the last of good company for a spell. Yet the Eternal provides, does it not?
Only if you give yourself over to the plan, Martha. May I call you Martha?
By all means, just make yourself comfortable. Company is always a reason for cheer. And who could? Stretch out your hand and cosmic divinity reaches back. Open wide your mouth and the universe provides sustenance. Just that your presence here is a gift to us, and one that we don't take for granted. Look at me, prattling on as if this gravy is going to cook itself. Why don't you run along until we are ready for dinner? I hope you favor ketchup and woolly cheddar. We have to make do with what we can find.
You must be famished. So are we, my friend, but one can't rush a fine meal. Is it sticking again? I'm afraid nothing out here works the way it used to. There's a bit of a trick to jimmying it open. I'll see to it once we've finished dinner. I do appreciate your patience. I'd hate to serve company with anything but the best, though.
Oh, hi there. Did you come to bring us more of those rocket candies? That's wonderful. There was this other man who used to bring them. Not anymore, though. I don't know. I'm not really supposed to talk to strangers. Mama and Papa said he came from the city. When we got sick one time, he brought those candies to make us well again. And they worked. Now we feel better than ever. Mama says they're a gift from the Eternal. He said they were making us sick. Mom and Papa got real mad at him for that.
Some kind of off-brand drug, maybe? Wouldn't be the first or the worst.
They went to have a talk with him. Afterwards, they said he wasn't coming back again. Okay. Maybe I'll see you at dinner.
Think they'll notice if we slip out first?
Hey, what are you doing? Liar! You're trying to steal the last of my rocket candies, aren't you?
You must be famished.
I hope you favor ketchup and woolly cheddar. We have to make do with what we can
Nice
find.
to meet you. Wait, did I already say that?
You must be I'm sure I would remember some. Now please, try to relax. Undue stress tends to spoil the meal, you know.
I hope you favor ketchup and woolly cheddar. We have to make do with what we can find.
I thought I'd seen the worst of humanity before.
Who does something like this?
But what's this? You're tracking blood into the kitchen. Oh dear. You've been nosy, haven't you? Of course not. What better end for the day than a meal around the family table? And what more noble purpose for you than to bring us together? Now there's an intriguing prospect. Forgo the promise of a fine dinner now for others down the road. Martha, my dear, what do you say?
It seems the Eternal shall provide through our new friend.
And there we have it. Stop by any time,
Who wants to play an impromptu tossball match? No one? In.
Velma soon out of sorts too?
I'd give you a friendlier welcome, but I'm up to my elbows in salt tuna guts. That he's got his load on and I'm stuck covering his shift? That's... wow. I sure feel like an ass now. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on Catherine herself. Still, it's good to know what happened to him. And that I ought to start looking for a replacement. Something else on your mind? Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Fair enough. The damn thing's been a headache anyway. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon.
Have you had time to check on that poster yet? I keep wondering if it's come in. Would you look at that? The Rizzo's logo is nice and bright, and you can still smell the ink on Mr. Holcomb's signature. I can't thank you enough. Still, you can have the bits I was going to spend at the bar this week. And you know what? Take my old tossball blocker, too. Never get the chance to use it these days.
You're back. Good news? Bad news? All of the above?
Says someone who's never had any fun.
Exactly. See? I'm glad someone on your crew's got some sensible. Got her head on straight. Whew, that hits the spot. Right in the, oh, no, there it is. There it is. Yes. We're in business. Let's go.
That was fast. I gotta see about stocking some on the ship.
You be careful. The first one's free. After that, they'll offer you gainful employment. Great. Where to? Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. He's running the giant radio tower we lovingly call Devil's Peak. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there, there's a western slope that'll lead us through some fun. You like hunting, right? That's fun. If you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. We can discuss options when we get closer. That said, 3's already a crowd. I don't mind waiting somewhere until you got a spot open.
Long as you've got my back, I'll have you.
You look like a preacher. You a traveling vicar?
In a manner of speaking.
Stellar Bay had a vicar once. He took it upon himself to convince Graham's folk to come back to the corporate fold. Kept making the trip between the city and
Is it true that Manta Queens devour their
Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in Raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a woman who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts.
Sebastian, you ever get your hands on those pheromone sacs? Manipillars ain't gonna hunt themselves, you know.
I must have hunted a dozen, but I couldn't find a single sack on any of them. Must be looking in the wrong place.
Manipillars ain't got pheromone sacs. I just told him that so he'd stop asking me for advice.
At least I'm getting a good haul of claws in the process. You're in good hands, traveling with Monarch's top merc. Still, if you want any rap glands or manticlaws, I've got you covered. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Nice of you to say. I like her too. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm? Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice. Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Oh, I will. Now I've just got to figure out which jumpsuit I'm wearing and how I'm fixing my hair. Or maybe I should go with a casual look? Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back to work look. Anyhow, thank you.